American Sports YouTube page, whether it be UFC, boxing, MMA, baseball, hockey, football, wrestling. We try and get all kinds of sports. Also, check out the Big D podcast for the audio listeners on Spotify and Apple. So, usually we have one specific event or specific events taking place throughout the night, whether it be a baseball stream, baseball stream. But with this being my birthday, it could be this is going to be a whole multitude of topics. There might be guests, there might be all kinds of people popping in and out for a while. But thank you to my friends, and friends here in Bellaterra for an awesome birthday dinner at Fancy's. By the way, if you want the best chicken and waffles in town, go to Fancy's. There's nothing better. And maybe wear your extra pants like the pants you wear after Thanksgiving, because whether it be chicken and waffles, chicken pot pie, or banana pudding, you can't go wrong with Fancy's. So I'm just seeing who's popping in right now. Anybody watch the Euros tonight? Today, with Spain beating France 2-1, and be honest with you, Yamal's goal was unbelievable. I mean, how many 16-year-olds score that goal in a semifinal against probably the best team, one of the best teams, not just in Europe but the world? I mean, the future for that guy is so bright. But for France, what was that? I mean, that was not a good tournament. I mean, one French player scored from open play the entire tournament. And that was in today, Koulibaly in the semi for France's opening goal today. That's not good enough from France. Deschamps knows it, and I don't care if Kylian Mbappe's hurt. He's playing. That means he's healthy enough to play. And yeah, if he's got a back injury, he's got a knee injury, he's got a broken nose. I don't know. He was on the team sheet. He played all 90 minutes, but yet France was not good enough. I mean, the French midfield was overstretched throughout the game. And be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a French midfield stretch like that, other than maybe the World Cup final against Argentina. And half of France's midfield wasn't even there because they were either not selected, hurt, or both. So, who's my first guest on this birthday batch? Is that you?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dylan. Happy birthday to you, and many more.
You've been around. Thank you, Alex. I thought I was going to get through the night without having that song.
Well, I'm glad I could be the one for you.
No, without hearing that song.
Well, I'm glad I could be the one to break that for you.
Doggone you.
So what's up, man? How's your day been?
Busy. Starting out with oh gosh, this towel. This towel's. I mean, if not for this being a Jaguar towel, I'd probably be flying right now.
Yeah.
But start out with a 30-minute bike session. Then just came back from dinner at Fancy's Chicken and Waffles.
Nice.
And now I'm streaming.
There you go. Hello, what is this, Twitch, right?
Yeah, we are streaming Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all kinds of different places.
All right. Well, hello, social media.
No TikTok though. I haven't figured that out yet. No, though I want to figure out
Yeah.
TikTok.
I think you need 1,000 followers to live stream on TikTok, which I hit through my sports card TikTok page, but I've not yet live streamed.
Is that from playing Shadow Cinco and FIFA all those years?
No, I wish. I got into collecting football cards a couple years back and had posted a couple of videos on there that just kind of showed the cards that I had pulled and everything like that, and ended up getting up to 1,000. But I never ended up streaming.
Does that include the tour card I gave you?
Yep, sure does.
I think I have a Trevor more. I've got a few cards over here. I've got a Trevor. I think there's like a Travis Etienne, Jordan Love, few. Oh, Christian Watson.
Yeah, nice. I stopped really collecting. I was doing it for a while. I made I made a poor financial decision, and it ended up not screwing me, but it kind of lost my interest. I packed a Malik Willis autograph card right after he got drafted. It was worth over $1,000 when I packed it, and I decided to sit on it, hope he would. It was before last season. It was off season before last season. I was hoping he would take over for Tannehill and really impress. Obviously, that didn't happen, and now it's worth less than $100.
And then he crapped the bed.
Yeah, but oh well. You live and you learn.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah. Speaking of Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill, you know what division we're discussing right now?
I sure do, Dylan. I believe you know it much better than I do, but we are speaking on the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the AFC South, Dylan's truest.
Yeah. So, I mean, Alex. Well, when Alex is not flipping burgers, eating chicken and waffles, he's usually here for divisional breakdowns. I mean, we've already done. Well, he and I did the AFC West. I did the NFC West last night. So, AFC South. So, Houston. Don't tell me who won the division last year. I'm still stewing over that.
Gotcha. I'm sure it'll probably come up throughout this episode, but well, we're looking forward, Dylan. We're looking towards this upcoming season. Anything that happened last year, uh, can't put too much weight on.
You're just looking forward to week one where Tua's going to get sacked 10 times.
No, we have. I think we're gonna extract some revenge on the Urban Meyer London game. So I've got full faith in the Miami Dolphins to take that one down.
Oh wait. So the 17th best quarterback's going to beat the seventh best quarterback?
No, the second best quarterback is going to beat the 17th best quarterback.
What the? Come on, man.
I'm tired of your Tua hate, Dylan. I'll allow it when we get to the AFC East, even though I won't allow it. I will definitely contradict you, but
Wait. So how can Tua be number 2 when he hasn't even won a playoff game?
it's a bit of an exaggeration. He was the leading passer last year. I mean, that's got to mean something.
Yeah, leading passer because the Dolphins only threw the ball.
That's not true at all. Did you see what Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane did last year, Dylan?
Yeah, all those touchdowns came against the Broncos.
A good chunk of them did, that's for sure.
So, AFC South, Texans won, then Jaguars, Colts, and then the Titans. So, you start with the Texans. Well, actually, I'll start with the Texans. I'll be honest with you, there's always one surprise team. I mean, we can attest from 2022, but nobody saw the Houston Texans in 2023 winning the AFC South, and I think it shows you get the coach and quarterback right, and you do a lot of things in the NFL.
Absolutely.
I mean, CJ Stroud. I mean, not looking like a rookie quarterback, looking like a 10-year vet, winning play. I mean, he looked like a seasoned quarterback capable of winning not just division, but contending maybe for a Super Bowl. I mean, and unlike my Jaguars with Trevor, the Texans really did small things with Stroud. Nico Collins was already there, but they drafted Tank Dell, signed Dalton Schultz. Larry Tunsil's a really good left tackle, and then get Will Anderson, the top pass rusher on defense. And I think it also shows that defensive-minded head coaches can work, but you need a really creative offensive coordinator. And what is his name? Bobby Slovak, who came with D'Amico Ryans from San Francisco, looks like he's going to be one of these next head coaching candidates, along with Ben Johnson of the Lions. I think there might be one or two candidates. It might be one. There's probably going to be another one with the Shannon or McVay tree, or maybe the Mike McDaniel tree now, right?
Yeah, I think our offensive coordinator, I think he had some conversations this past off season, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the head coach running, after the season, especially after we win the division.
Ooh. So was CJ Stroud just an aberration, or was he maybe the next great superstar quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw some great things from CJ Stroud last season. Obviously, we came into the season kind of comparing him to Bryce Young, with the 1 and 2 picks in the draft, and I don't think there's anyone in the country who would question who had the better year last year. I mean, CJ Stroud tore it up with the Texans, as we all know. Bryce Young with the Panthers, definitely not so much, but I think he's a pure talent. He's a guy that, if I'm a Texans fan, I'm ecstatic for him to be the guy who's going to be my franchise quarterback moving this organization forward, especially considering it's an organization that, hasn't had the most success when, in their franchise history, realistically. So, I think CJ Stroud is what we saw last year. Obviously, there's always the concern from rookies going into their second year that, defenses have the tape on them. The head coaches have a better idea how to game plan against them. But CJ Stroud, we saw some special things. Not only do we see it in the regular season, we saw it in the playoffs as well, which is a huge testament to a rookie quarterback being able to show up in the playoffs. And, even if, the season didn't necessarily end the way that Texans fans wanted to, they've got to be happy with what they got from CJ last season. And, in addition to the additions that they made this offseason, obviously, most notably Stephon Diggs joining from Buffalo, to add that to an already solid receiver core with Nico and Tank Dell. It's the ceiling is as high as it can get for the Houston Texans right now. And I definitely think CJ Stroud's the real deal. I think we'll see a step up. Obviously, as I mentioned previously, there's always the concern when it comes to game planning and having a little bit more tape than you do on a rookie. But, he's just a dynamic player. He's a guy who can make plays happen. And, he's not afraid to sit in the pocket. He's not afraid to take the ball and run. And, I think we're going to see some good things out of CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans this year.
What is one or two words? What is CJ Stroud's upside?
One or two words. I think his absolute ceiling, top 6. I think if he has the best year he can, he's got the potential to be a top 6 quarterback in the league.
In terms of quarterback-wise, I thought he was Jared Goff, and to be honest with you, I'm ahead of him, but could he be better than Jared Goff?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot more, to go off of when it comes to Jared Goff. He's been successful in 2 different franchises. We've seen one season of CJ Stroud, but I think it's a decent comparison. I think, I would say CJ Stroud might be a little bit more athletic than Jared Goff. As far as pure passer, I think I'd have to give the nod to Goff where we sit today, but I think it could very easily, have the needle point in CJ Stroud's favor, even as early as the season.
And then I wonder how the Texans are going to mix in Steph Diggs, because Steph Diggs player-wise looking really good, but we've seen Steph tail off the second half of the last few seasons. Plus, he can get on quarterbacks. You know, he got on Kirk Cousins. Minnesota got on Josh Allen. So, I mean, Houston's got a lot of mouths to feed. Plus, adding Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, Houston's going to be, instead of the Texans being the hunter, the Texans will be the hunted.
Yeah. No, you're totally right, and I think it's a very fair criticism of Stephon Diggs. Obviously, you know, at the end of his Minnesota Vikings tenure, things got, you know, not the prettiest, and everyone knows how things ended with Buffalo. Even throughout the whole season last year, we knew that Stephon Diggs wasn't happy. You know, we'll see. Is the third time a charm, or, you know, is Stephon Diggs the problem, and is he a locker room cancer? I mean, I think it's going to be pretty clear. You know, by the end of this season, probably won't see anything, you know, for the first half of the season. But, you know, once we hit that second half home stretch, I mean, you know, Stephon Diggs wants to win. Obviously, he's a competitor. You know, we've seen him with the confetti falling down, and, you know, how you know, frustrated he gets when, you know, seasons don't necessarily turn out the way he expects it or wants it to. So I think that's going to be a huge testament on, you know, the big thing is, I think this Houston Texans team, you know, the sky's the limit, and everyone's happy when you're winning. So at the end of the day, you know, if they continue to win football games and put themselves in a good position for the playoffs, I think Stephon Diggs will be happy. And, you know, as long as things don't go south, you know, everything should be okay on that side of the ball. You know, one thing I will say though is, you know, one of my favorite things about this division, you know, we're going to be obviously hitting all four teams here, but in my opinion, I think this has to be the most even division in the National Football League. I mean, I think, you know, compare from where the top team, you know, from last year in the division is to the worst team in the division. I don't see, you know, any of the 8 divisions in the NFL who is more competitive and who is more close to be on the same playing field as these 4 football teams. Obviously, we're going to talk things over, you know, in a little bit more detail moving forward here. But, you know, it's just something that excites me when, you know, I knew we were going to be talking about this episode, and, you know, going to be looking forward to moving forward. But speaking of moving forward, I think it's time to jump ahead. And what else would be right other than to intro this for Dylan to give his 2 cents on? But we're heading down south. I guess we're heading over east to Duval County and talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dylan, this is your team. I will give you the floor, sir. What do you see out of your Jacksonville Jaguars for this upcoming season?
I see a team that, be honest with you, should have made the playoffs but failed to do so. Now, part of it was injury related, no question. Trevor Lawrence dealing with 65 injuries the last third of the year. But part of it was a team that underachieved, and the Jaguars should have made the playoffs, and yet they let the lonely Houston Texans make the playoffs. And so the Calvin Ridley fit never looked right to me.
Right.
Because, I mean, Calvin Ridley hadn't played football in a year, and he made a lot of almost plays, but you know what almost plays turn out? You know who leads the almost play category? Yeah, who cares? I want plays. I want touchdowns.
Yep.
And be honest with you, the Jaguars disappoint me. I don't care. I mean, and I think Trevor regressed, especially. I mean, he had moments. I mean, the Buffalo game, the game against the Saints, you know, until the injury against Cincinnati. But there's got to be more moments for Trevor. And then, you know, defensively, the Jaguars couldn't stop a nosebleed against Cincinnati. They made Jake Brown look like it was Joe Burrow. Week 14 against Joe Flacco and the Browns. 15 against the Ravens. 16 against Baker Mayfield. And then to top it all off, Derrick Henry knocked all bleeping butts out of the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to be a reoccurring theme for the Jaguars when it comes up. you guys always just have some crazy interdivision games where you can't beat the bad teams and you beat the good teams, and it just seems like everything's turned upside on their head when it comes to the AFC South. But one thing I'm curious about, Dylan, is obviously I mean, maybe not obviously, but I would say, going into last season, the Jaguars were pretty much the consensus favorite to win the AFC South last year. Everyone expected Trevor Lawrence to step up, and really kind of show that he was worth that number one pick. Going into this season, I've even seen, some people having the Jaguars coming in as the fourth team in the AFC South. Not that I necessarily agree with it, but it's something I've seen on social media a couple times. I'm curious, Dylan, how is your mindset as a fan, and an educated fan, changed going into this season versus last season, where everyone kind of expected you to win the division, go to the playoffs. Obviously, things didn't happen the way you thought you would. Now you've got this up and coming quarterback in the division, and every other team making some good changes as well. What's the mindset change, as a fan and as an educated fan and podcaster, from your perspective as a Jaguars fan going into this year?
Mindset's simple: win the division, make the playoffs, and win a round, if not more.
Yeah,
I mean, with a top 10 quarterback, super winning head coach, a team of all this talent, Jaguars should be better. I mean, Christian Kirk, Gabriel Davis, if he kept his head on straight, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, and then Brian Thomas Jr. This is a team that should make the playoffs. I don't care how stacked the AFC South is. I don't care how stacked the AFC is.
yeah.
You know what? Nobody would have predicted Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns making the playoffs last year with 59 quarterbacks there.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly right there. I mean, especially in this division, there's no super powerhouse. There's not a team where it's like, okay, let's try and get a wild card because they've already got it locked up. I mean, I think if I'm a Jaguars fan, I'm in the same boat as you are. It's win the division and worry about everything else after that. But, I do have another question here. You kind of touched on a couple names, but, I'm curious. The Jaguars definitely made some good additions this offseason, whether it was through the draft or through free agency. Obviously, you mentioned names like Gabe Davis, who came in from Buffalo, Brian Thomas, obviously, who they added to the draft. Give me one name. You can even jump to two if there's anyone else who specifically stands out to you. But give me one or two names that as a Jaguars fan, you were most excited to watch in this upcoming season. A new addition.
I'm excited to see what Ariel Olmstead does. Everybody's seen Olmstead with the Niners, but Olmstead in the 3-4 defensive line. He's a big man, but he can help stop the run, because you saw Jackson the last 4 or 5 games. The Jaguars couldn't stop you running the football.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. I mean, I think, on top of that, Mitch Morse, bringing in a veteran center from Buffalo, who's a guy who I was, half hoping Miami would make a run at, in free agency. I think that's a good pickup. Devin Duvernay, we've seen him in Baltimore. He was never necessarily, an elite receiver for them, but he's a guy who adds depth. I think he's a good option behind Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas. And, really the biggest. Yeah.
Particularly with the new return rules.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's going to change, that's going to change a whole aspect of the game this season with, the potential for kickoff returns actually to mean something again, because it seems like it's been, 5 to 10 years since a kickoff actually meant something. But, other than that, I definitely like the moves that Jacksonville made this year. I think they've got a good shot. At the division, as I kind of mentioned a couple minutes ago, I think it's the most even division in the NFL, and I really could see, any of the 4 teams potentially, if all the pieces go right, of course, making a run for the division. Really, the only criticism I have of Jacksonville going into this year is that Mac Jones move. You better hope Trevor Lawrence doesn't go down, is all I'm going to say, because I don't want Mac Jones coming in as my backup quarterback.
Hey, I'd rather have a capable backup quarterback. If Kirk Cousins isn't fully healthy, the Atlanta Falcons might have the best backup quarterback in the league.
You're very right. It's a good point. It's just, I was very critical of Mac Jones as a starter. Obviously, the Patriots must have agreed, or else they wouldn't have moved on from him. And, we'll see if maybe backup duties is a little bit more his speed. But, hopefully, for your sake and for Trevor's sake, it doesn't come to it. We don't see him on the field, but I'll just say, I wouldn't have the highest of expectations if you do need to make a change at the quarterback position.
All right, for my team, I've got a question for you, Alex. Based on this question, what team do you think we're talking next? Who's your daddy?
We must be talking about the Indianapolis Colts if we're bringing out the Hoosiers, baby.
By the way, Rip Toby Keith, who's your daddy was one of his hits back in the day. But I think the Indianapolis Colts have got quite possibly the most unknown ceiling.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get to see a lot of Anthony Richardson last year, but when he played, my goodness, was that guy freakish. I mean, Anthony Richardson is, what is he, 6'4", 245, freakishly athletic, huge arm, and be honest with you, I mean, the Olympics, the Olympics is right around the corner. Anthony Richardson looks like he could be one of those shot putters at the Olympics.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I have to agree with you on that one. And yeah, to kind of run with that, I mean, it's exactly as you said. It's one of the toughest teams to predict in the league, just because obviously health concerns. I mean, everyone's got health concerns, but when you lose your starting quarterback, especially such an electric quarterback as Anthony Richardson was in the short time that we saw him last year, obviously everyone knows that Anthony Richardson is the guy. He's going to be the starter. It's not really a conversation at all, but I am so excited to see him play, man. Obviously, growing up a Gators fan, I have a little bit of bias towards him. But even still, I mean, who could not want to watch that guy play after what we saw from him at the beginning of last season? I mean, it was almost a breath of fresh air just seeing, and we've talked about it throughout podcasts last season, in our weekly reviews, but it's a mobile quarterback league these days. I mean, it seems like all of the top tier quarterbacks have some sense of mobility to their game. And Anthony Richardson definitely checks that box, and he's got the passing along with it. They made a couple decent moves this offseason. I don't really think that they needed to make too many moves just because of how their season unfortunately got derailed by injuries. But you had mentioned them earlier in the show. They brought in Joe Flacco. I mean, obviously, that was a head scratching move by the Browns when it happened, and it sure paid off for them. I think, I expected Flacco to retire after the playoff run, but to see him sign on with Indianapolis and jump on board as Richardson's backup, I think he gives him a pretty stable option if something was to happen to Anthony Richardson again. Just as a fan favorite, they brought in Raekwon Davis, to help out the defensive line from Miami. I'll tell you what, if there's any Colts fans listening, Raekwon Davis is a stud, man. He's a guy who just he gets to work, and there's not a whole lot of flash. There's not a whole lot of shine. He's not going to be a big mouth personality, but I'll tell you what, he's going to get on that defensive line. He's going to disrupt plays, and he's going to be a name that Colts fans will be happy cheering for this season. He's a great playmaker, and we miss it. We're going to miss him in Miami this year, and the Colts got a good one on that defensive line.
In terms of terrific trios, I like the Colts trio with Richardson, JT, and Michael Pittman. But the question is, how healthy will Anthony Richardson be? Because he dealt with shoulder injuries, dealt with concussion. I mean, he might almost be too big as a runner, because if we've seen Jalen Hurts get hurt at the end of the year,
yeah.
Lamar. I mean, if Anthony Richardson might be too big, well, if somebody hits him in the wrong spot, it's boom.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be a concern, obviously, for the coaching staff as well as for Anthony Richardson. At the end of the day, it's football. Football is a physical sport. You're going to take your hits. You're going to take your bumps. You're going to take your bruises. At the end of the day, you got to play smart football, especially from the quarterback position. If you're going to run, you better know where those defenders are, and you better get down before you take a pop. Obviously, there's not much you can do about sacks and if there's breakdowns on the offensive line, but especially as a running mobile quarterback, you really do have to put an emphasis on protecting yourself. I mean, we saw it with Tua, and maybe Anthony Richardson should learn some jiu-jitsu. I mean, Tua was one of 5 or 6 quarterbacks to play the whole season last year. I mean, I'm not going to say
Alex,
jiu-jitsu.
sorry, quickly, on the Titans, I know we've got to be quickly.
Got it.
I'm intrigued by Will Levis this year because they added Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, plus Brian Callahan, no Derrick Henry, but Tony Pollard. And quickly, who wins the division?
I got to give it to the Texans. I think their ceiling is the highest of any 4 teams. It's one of the closest divisions in the league, but I've got to go with the back-to-back champions and CJ Stroud here.
I'm going to give it to the Colts because I'm not jinxing the Jaguars this year.
There you go.
So, actually, now we are about to hop in a best ball draft. Sorry, with DK best ball millionaire winner Felix Castro. So, Felix, not much. How many of these drafts have you done?
So DraftKings, I've done 130. On Underdog, I've done like a pre-draft and regular draft. I've done a little over 120.
I think I've done 30 million makers right now. But to be honest with you, I mean, I feel like this is like the calm before the storm, before training camp really gets going. We figure out like who's going. This is like guesswork. You're trying to figure out like who's going to do what.
That's what I like. I like the betting on the unknown before everybody has the answers.
Yep.
I like to do one every day. Just do one every day. Get your practice in, and that way, when August comes, you can hit like 2 or 3 a day and kind of dominate those drafts.
It's such an advantage. I mean, just drafting in May, June, July. Especially if you're in like redraft fantasy leagues or dynasty leagues or things like that. I know good fantasy football players right now who aren't even thinking about doing mock drafts.
I know, it's so weird.
And it's crazy. And you know, some people can procrastinate it. For me, I'm right there with you guys. I'm wanting to get in those mock draft lobbies and getting those millionaire makers out there and really just getting a flow of who's falling where, you know, where you can reach for guys, where you can kind of hope that guys are going to drop to. I mean, even not only for best ball, it's great for redraft, it's great for dynasty, and it's really just getting a feel of where players are dropping.
Yeah, I kind of stopped doing redraft. Well, I have like 2 leagues I still do now, but like because I used to just join like random ESPN lobbies and back in the day, but then I'm like, once I found out about best ball, I was like, well, this way I can do a whole bunch and I never have to actually ever worry about any transactions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus,
it's a lazy man's game.
And plus, it's got to be a PPR league. Otherwise, I'm not playing. I mean, Underdog is half point and DraftKings is 4 points, so that does change strategy. Yeah. Because if I'm on Underdog, I want to go after the Derrick Henry types. But on DK, I think taking a guy like who would be a good PPR bet?
Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, it's pretty obvious, like he's in the first round. So,
can't say Austin Eckler anymore. It's weird not to have him as
Deontay Johnson would be a good pick in the middle rounds. Who's like a PPR monster who could just get open, and Bryce Young is going to be checking it down.
Yeah.
Or Chris Godwin.
Yeah, because he's going to be playing out of the slot this year for sure.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you. So you want to hit? So while we're here, you want to hit a draft?
Absolutely. Talking to me, I'm always down to draft.
Which one? Are we going to do a Millie Maker?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is how I do it with everybody. Tell me when you're in, Felix.
I can. I'm ready to click it whenever.
I'm going to give you a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll try and get in the same room. So,
alrighty.
3, 2, 1, go.
Alrighty. 11 and 12, so hopefully you guys got it.
I'm 1 of 12.
Oh, no.
No.
Can you withdraw?
No, well, I think
That's gonna be
I'm probably in a full lobby is probably what it is. Did you get in? Or did you try to join, Alex?
I didn't
Okay.
realize
I
that's
can.
what.
No, you're fine. I can multi-table here.
Oh, okay. So you know what? I'll WD from mine.
No, don't WD from yours. I'll multi-table. I'll join yours as well.
No. All right.
Yours shouldn't be full yet. Because I think I was like the last person in that lobby.
Oh, wait. Who do we have here? Adam.
Dylan, what's going on, guys?
With this,
Do you guys want to come bullshit over on the other channel where Jason and Jamie are waiting?
no, we're actually drafting right now. Are you in the other one, Felix?
Yeah, I just joined the other one.
Okay, so
Or I think I did. I didn't yet. Oops.
wait. Should I try and do
No,
it again?
you're good. You're good. You should be in. You're already in there, right?
No, I exited.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead and join. I'll join it. 3, 2, 1. Join. All right. It should be. You should be able to get in that one. That was 7 and 12.
You're doing a live draft right now.
Is there a way to join one together?
I mean, what we just did is probably the best bet. They're kind of filling faster. They fill pretty quickly at nighttime.
Makes sense.
Best time to do it. The best time to do a basketball draft is like 2:30 in the morning when everyone's drunk.
Yes.
I did one at 2:30 a couple nights ago.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, you're Spunky 3300.
Yep. Yes, sir.
That's where I got the 3 hole.
Dylan, does this mean you're not joining us?
Huh?
Does this mean you're not joining us?
Probably not. I've got 6.
Nice.
You know what it is? I've gotten the 4 or 5 picks so many freaking times.
Here's what I gotta say to you, Mr. Dylan.
There it is.
Kind, so.
It's pretty
So, Felix, obviously, 101's probably Christian McCaffrey, right?
Yeah, and then CD Lamb most likely. So I like to go Chase personally.
I'll tell you what.
It's a little bit of bias put in there because he was on my Millie making winning team. So
I'll tell you what. I've gotten so many Bengals stacks lately. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Cincinnati value is like.
Well, yeah, with T going into the 4th, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow, I could Joe Burrow in the 6th round, and like his value, like I don't know when you would draft him, like.
I either grab him in the 6th or the 8th because Najee goes in the 7th for me.
I mean, you definitely lose out in the rushing factor with Burrow, which I think is why he's falling so much. But it's still insane.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dylan,
What?
I'm leaving. I'm going to the other room where Jason and Jamie are.
All right.
You guys are welcome to step over into our room and bullshit. It's totally up to you guys. But we're just gonna talk sports and shit. So
That's pretty much what we're doing here. I don't know. Like what I try and do is mix in some of Chase, some of Amon-Ra, some of Tyreek Hill, and I've got all 3 in case the stacks go off. Plus,
Yeah.
I mean, is that what you do? Like one time I got the 101 and took CeeDee Lamb, and I don't think it was crazy.
All right, so I've been unfortunately very unlucky to get the 101. So when I get it, I just take my few shares of CMC.
Yeah.
I only get it every so often, so I might get 5% with the 1 pick.
I've done 30 million makers. I think 17 $3 now, that $4, and I've gotten the 101 like twice. One of them I took Lamb, and one of them I took McCaffrey, and that's a slow draft.
Yeah, I haven't done any slow drafts this year.
Guess I'll take Justin Jefferson.
The year I won it, I did like 50% slow, 50% fast, and I did all like a whole bunch of slows last year, and I got destroyed. Did you go Jefferson?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I keep ending up with the 4th, which I'm not too mad about because it just keeps landing me Tyreek Hill. But I don't have a lot of variety in my teams because it seems like I just keep If I get 5th, I've had Tyreek fall to me at 5, and I think I did take him at 3 on like one of my first ones. But I mean, I'm not mad at it.
No, so you can't be bad at getting Tyreek. He's
Right.
I'll
just
tell
one
you
of the
one.
best.
I'll tell you one time I got Jamal Chase at the 107 and wanted to do a backflip.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was like me last year in our draft, Dylan, where I got McCaffrey at 4 overall or 5 overall last year.
Yeah, I remember streaming our draft, and I'm like, how did you get Christian McCaffrey at 4?
I know.
Well, whenever Joe Burrow like hurt his calf in the preseason, I got Jamar Chase at 9.
Jeez.
So like that's what you want to save your bullets for is like, you know, get all this practice in and just wait for like weird injury news and just bet on the injury not being as bad as it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that was another reason like I did so well the year I won it, is that everybody said Jamar Chase couldn't like see the ball correctly or catch it correctly. And I'm like, I'm doubling down on this guy.
That was his rookie year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had 50% Jamar Chase that year.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. Jamal Chase won me my Yahoo league with like 800 billion yards against the Chiefs, right?
Yeah. I was on an airplane on the way back home from my wife and I just happened to go out for like New Year's and we were headed back home. I didn't get to see any of that game. So I didn't get to see my rise to the top of like the big win. Man, that was tough.
Nothing was worse than because I'm a commissioner in 2 redraft leagues.
Oh
and
no.
Nothing was worse than the DeMar Hamlin game right at the stretch of fantasy football, like right as fantasy playoffs are coming. You got this canceled game, and I got people with Burrow and Josh Allen and Gabe Davis and Diggs and everyone.
Oh, yeah. And that game was popping off too, man.
Oh my God. You're not wrong about that.
I don't know who the
sorry.
I don't know who the take here because this middle of the second round's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really a Devontae Adams fan this year, Olave.
I won the battle royale with Devontae last year, so I'm like kind of back in on Devontae for some reason. Well, not for some reason. I know my reason.
I kind of like taking Jalen Waddle.
That's not a bad pick either. I was getting him in the 4th round at the beginning of draft season.
Wow.
And he just keeps coming up and up. And once he got paid, he shot up to the early 3rd, and I was creeping into the 2nd.
Which is unfortunate as well, because it's hard for me to go against my bias in fantasy. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here to have. I mean, when you're in the millionaire and everything, obviously you're trying to make some money. But
well, you're trying to get lucky. It's a lottery, yeah.
But at the end of the day, being a diehard Dolphins fan, like if I can steal a couple Dolphins players, it's always a plus. And I definitely have reached for Jalen Waddle at times, and I've gotten lucky enough for him to fall to me in the right spot. But he's one of the best wide receiver 2s in the league, that's for sure.
Oh, 100%. If not the best, yeah.
Again, my bias might cloud me, but I mean,
no.
I'm there with it.
I was in my semifinals match. That team that actually ended up winning it, I had a team going against Waddle, and that was the game where he had like 20 catches or 20. It was like a Monday night game, and all I was really fading was a Devontae Parker. All he had to not do was like catch a 20-yard pass. Like if he didn't do that, I was on to the finals. But then all of a sudden, Waddle over here just started putting up all these points, and I'm like, this guy that was like 6th place was like moving all the way up, about to knock me out of that conference, semi spot.
Jeez.
It was terrifying.
Yeah. Oh God.
No, it was weird. Like last year, 40 of my 150 in the best ball Millie Maker made week 15. Only one made week 16. I'm like, what the bleep did I do?
No, dude, I had 80. I advanced 80 teams of my 150,
Jeez.
and 80 of them went into the first round, and then only had 13 into the semis. It is what it is. It's pod luck. You're going against everybody else's super team.
I had so much luck last year. Last year was my first time ever doing best ball. It's the first time I ever heard about it, and Dylan was obviously the one who introduced me to it. I only did 2 teams, and I had both my teams move on.
Awesome.
Ended up with more teams in the semis than Dylan did after his 150, but felt a little bad about it.
The guy that got 2nd place in underdogs Million Maker 2 years ago. Only had one entry in it, and it got second place for $1 million. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. DJ Moore? Is that where you're leaning?
I mean, I don't really like any of those picks.
What's your who you got so far? That was your third pick?
I wanted Derrick Henry, but I went JJ, Waddle, and DJ Moore. I've got a. I mean, Kieran Williams scares me, but the value if he is fed.
Yeah. If he's fine and he gets this like a majority of what he got last year, he'll be all right. He'll pay off that third round draft pick.
Yeah.
Are you for or against early tight ends? Because it seems like to me, I feel like if I don't get a tight end the first 5-6 rounds, I'm like, oh crap.
Well, I'm just like when I messaged you, I was like, I'm kind of just go with the flow. If I get an elite tight end, awesome. If I don't, I'm probably going to grab 3 late ones. And apparently, I don't know if you guys follow chip chasing guys at all, but they say like the 3 tight ends that I like the most are like 3 of the worst: Jatavian Sanders, Daniel Bellinger, and Hayden Hurst. They say they're like about as bad as it gets, but I'm like, well, I'm not looking for a lot for my tight end. But if I get an elite tight end, I don't even mind going with just one.
I like Sanders, especially if you get like a Bryce Young, Deontay, maybe mixed in like a
Thielen or
and then have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin or maybe Godwin.
Or the McMillan guy.
I mean, I took in my one I did at 2 a.m. the other night. I had that was the Tyreek Hill. I got a couple different Dolphins on there, and I think we put Cleveland week 14,
17.
17. I knew it was at the end there. So I grabbed Njoku. I mean, I waited. I mean, I took him. It was probably 8th or 9th round. I was happy with that.
Is that around pick 100 somewhere around there? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. I like Njoku. I'm worried about Deshaun Watson. Like, if we get Deshaun Watson out of there and bring in Jameis all like right off the rip, I'd be happier.
Yeah, I can see that. I ended up going 3 tight ends anyway. I picked up Kate Otten, Jonas Smith, and I was happy with it.
Was it on DraftKings?
Yep.
Yeah, so DraftKings, it's easier to go with the third quarterback, third tight end. I advocate for 3 quarterbacks just because the randomness of that position, and you always want to hit at least a 20-point game from your quarterback.
Right.
Sorry, I'm on the draft, on the clock on the other league. But the 3 tight ends, you can always you have 20 rounds versus like the underdog's 18. You can always kind of just sneak in another tight end, or because it's 20 rounds, you can always. And there's so many not good, but there's so many available tight ends late. You can always throw on a couple.
I mean, the only reason why I got through to the semis last year was because of Dylan's Sam Laporta hint there. So, and who else did you have? Oh, Puka. Puka was a mainstay of my team thanks to Mr. Dylan.
Trying to figure out who's going to be the Puka this year. Be honest with you, one of the guys I love drafting last round last year and this year, Josh Reynolds.
Yeah,
it's not a bad pick. I don't think he's got Puka talent or anything like that, but I think I could see him having good production late. I've been grabbing Hyatt a lot lately, but that's just more of a hoping for like a 60-yard touchdown catch,
Well, Darius Slayton, you get like sometimes I take one there and I'm like, please just don't tear your ACL.
Yeah. I mean, I think the guy that Dylan introduced me to who kind of fits a similar mold. I mean, it's a great offense. Going late is Devontae Walker.
Yeah, yes, I like that as well. Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a crapshoot. I mean, you never know, but it's a great offense. There's not a whole lot of elite receivers there.
Speaking of Dolphins, guys, I like the Malik Washington from Miami as well. And all he has to do is outplay OBJ. They might even put him in front of OBJ because they're trying to maybe help OBJ get to the playoffs.
Right. I think the big thing with that is, especially with Tyreek injury concerns, and Waddle's been mostly healthy, but he was banged up a little bit last season. I think because Odell's definitely solidified the 3 until he loses it, but I could definitely see Washington coming in and taking some reps, especially if there's an injury.
I'm going to get a tight end here, most likely. Or maybe I'd go with the double. Whoa. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati double here.
I'll tell you what, I love Christian Kirk 4th round last year. I did it. I love him again this year. I mean, Trevor Lawrence feels like a value stack.
Yeah, 100%. He's my most owned quarterback. I put on my exposures today, and as usual, they drive up a little bit of attention. I have him at 36%, and I have Gabe Davis at 76%. He's my favorite player. He's the most mispriced player in my opinion, other than Najee, but that's because he won me $1 million. But Gabe Davis, he's like the perfect basketball guy. He's either scoring 40 points or 0. That's kind of what you want.
Finally, I got one. Woo!
I almost took that for because I was listening to you. Who you drafted? Was it I don't remember who you had on the other day. You wanted to get that Mark Andrews Lamar.
Is that what you just did? I missed it. Oh, yeah. He's been talking about that Mark Andrews Lamar stack forever.
Nice.
Funny. You started the cube. Well, I guess you didn't really start it.
No, I mean, Mark Andrews in the 5th round just feels stupid, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I was debating between him and T. Higgins, but I was like, well, I can now push. Hopefully, I should be able to push Joe Burrow to the 8th, but we'll see.
No, trust me, I'm not taking Joe Burrow.
It would be silly for anybody to take Joe Burrow because he's not going to be attached to any of their pieces. So
I hate when you get like the naked Justin Herbert, the naked Trevor Lawrence, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, I always justify it by getting Hayden Hurst and Quentin Johnson. Nobody likes it, and the guy that you said that you're wondering who the next Puka could be is Brendan Rice. I mean, his dad is Jerry Rice. He's a big dude. He was athletic. He was he has the ability, and he has the right people in his corner.
Is he really the best rookie wide receiver from the Chargers?
No, well, I think he's going to get a better chance to get on the field than because who's he have to beat out? He has to beat out DJ Chark because he's an outside type wide receiver, so he's got to beat out DJ Chark. Not really the biggest presence. There's another rookie he got drafted with him was a big guy.
Cornelius Johnson from Michigan.
Yeah. So not really like a big competition out there for him. So I think he could take the job.
What are you doing with the Houston Texan wide receivers this year? I mean, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Steph Diggs.
I'm taking a little bit of everybody. I'm not making a stand. I'm kind of fading Nico. That's just because I don't think he belongs in the 2nd round. But
it's fair.
He's got big playability, so it's kind of what you want in best ball. But his production from week to week may not be what you want in best ball.
Right.
I'll tell you what, that feels a little early for Brian Thomas. That's like a round and a half early.
I mean, you guys what shocked me is, you guys are talking about Mark Andrews. I know ADP and everything, but I know Trey McBride had a great year last year, but to be going around ahead of Mark Andrews and Andrews going behind Kincaid I get stacks and whatever, but it's crazy.
Brian Thomas is ADP is like 87, so that is very early.
Oh my god! Wow. What's Dylan
gonna do? Are you for against drafting Joe Mixon?
I think it's a good thing to have a decent running back on a good offense. Like he's going to get a lot of goal line work. The only person that they have there to take away his carries is Jawar Jordan. So
Damian Pierce.
Nah, he's probably going to get cut. He wasn't part of their regime. They really clearly don't like him. They played Singletary over him, which I do like Singletary, but they don't like him.
Yeah. I don't like Singletary this year.
I do. There's no one going to take the work from him from getting the first, the 1-2 downs.
Plus,
And
But it's the Giants. I mean,
I have a feeling that they're going to be better than expected. I'm not saying they're going to be good. I'm just saying they're going to be better than expected, like
fair.
Buccaneers-esque, where they might even get a playoff spot. They're not. I believe in Brian Dable's offense abilities.
Yeah, it's hard not to, but
Yeah.
it's always tough to kind of get past the shiny turd is still a turd almost.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely Daniel Jones is definitely the big old turd in there, but you do have a lot of good offensive pieces around them.
Yeah.
And I mean, he made it work with worse pieces last year. I don't know. Or 2 years ago, not last year, obviously.
Right.
and plus for Joe Mixon, I get the bring back with Baltimore, Houston.
Yes. Only problem with that is that they're all week 14 buys.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, week 6, 12, and 14 sucked this year.
12 is so bad for me. The reason that Najee's such a great pick as well, he only has to share a bye with one other player, and that's Christian McCaffrey.
I hate 6 because I keep ending up like in those Tyreek Hill leagues I'm talking about, it just seems to always fall where I want to go like Mahomes Hollywood. And I can't add the Tua stat because I already have Mahomes, and I accidentally did it in a draft, and I only drafted 2 quarterbacks, and I had Tua and Mahomes both week 6, and it just seems like I ended up screwing myself with it. So 6 has been frustrating for me.
But on DraftKings, if you could easily get enough of a lead where you're not really going to die from having your quarterback not score. I went back and looked at all my teams that advanced. Well, apparently I took a screenshot of all the ones I had a huge lead on. And I had like a 300-point lead by week 7. And I mean, I'm not saying everybody's going to have, you can't count on that, but at the same token, you don't have to put all this pressure on yourself to have all your buys correctly. If the player is good and you like it for your team, that could be good enough kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Deontay Johnson, one of us just took him.
Nice. I think he's a great pick for DK, as well as I think there's 2 teams that I think they're going to have a revival, and one was the Giants, and I think the other one's going to be the Panthers. I'm not saying again they're going to be great, but I think they're going to be a lot better with the coaching upgrade and with Deontay Johnson being added to that mix.
It's also just not a great division.
And that's another thing. I think the Saints are going to be terrible, and and I don't think the defense for the Falcons is going to be good.
Right.
And so they were so silly for taking Penix.
That's crazy. Jaw dropping.
Yeah. They had the pick of the litter at defense. If any place that they wanted to go there, and they went with Penix.
If anything, trade out. I mean, scoop up a couple extra picks and go to 15 or something. I mean,
it makes no sense. And why Penix? Like, you could have gotten Bo Nix. It's not like, I don't know. I mean, I don't like Bo Nix either, but.
So you're big on Najee, huh?
96%, yes.
Crazy. I've been Jalen Warren. Like, if I see
there's nothing wrong. I have nothing against Jalen Warren. I want to make sure that is perfectly clear. I just think that with Arthur Smith, it's going to be a lot of run. It's going to be, and I think on DraftKings, he's a little bit better on because he can get that 3 points for the rushing of the 100 yards, and he will still be involved in the pass game. But I also think that Warren also has good upside for the catches and touchdown upside. Just I don't think he's going to have 100 in either receiving or rushing. I think he's just going to have good points as well.
That's fair. And I guess Najee would probably get the goal line work too.
Probably, unless they want to bring in Cordell Patterson for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about Arthur Smith, but he's an upgrade over Matt Canada. So
yeah. Oh my God.
Can't be worse.
Can't be worse.
It could be. Brandon Staley could be on your franchise.
Oh God.
Yeah. Trust me, I know.
Oh God, we have said many words about Brandon Staley on our episode.
I tried to justify everything he was doing. I'm like, okay, well, maybe he was thinking this, and like maybe he was doing this for this reason. Like, I was a beaten woman. I feel like right there, man. I was just trying to justify anything he did.
What do you think about JSN?
Njoku just went.
One of my highest owned wide receivers last year. Definitely not this year, but that's more along the lines because like he also goes in a tough area to grab him. because I do think he's a good pick though.
If you're going here, I gotta look at Jameson, right? Over Jason over Jameson.
I think they provided kind of a similar floor, but they have. I mean, if to pick your litter, I guess for either way. Yeah, I don't think there's a bad pick there.
There's a lot of mouths in both offenses.
I'm not taking Burrow.
Yeah.
Trust me. Trust me. Don't look at me. I am not taking Joe Burrow.
Look, I'm not one of these people that's going to push him to 100. I just want him at 94.
And then you're going to watch whatever this guy is taking Burrow one pick in front of you.
Yeah, dude. I to be fair, it'd be karma. I was in a draft with Neil Orfield and a professional baseball player named Justin Steele, and he had like this perfect Miami stack going, and Neil said, "Oh, you like your team so much?" Blah blah blah. He was like bragging about his team, and I just like it came right up to me, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna take Tua." So I took a naked Tua. It was one of the best nights, parts of that night for sure.
Great.
I mean, so what do you think about my team so far?
Let's see here. So I got this
Almost
one.
on the clock, Dylan.
Hold on. Let me think. Not my best strong suit. Take this. Okay, let's look at your team. All right, do you have it up?
Yeah. JJ
Jefferson, Waddle, Moore. It's good. Jackson, Lamar, awesome. I mean, that looks good to me. No complaints from me. Like, just gotta look the season play out. See, hopefully you avoid the injury bug like everybody else.
Yeah.
It's
An interesting pick here. This was a spot I was kind of stuck with in my last draft.
I'm going to take Brian Robinson, a guy I never took last year.
I sprinkled him in occasionally. I didn't have an opinion on him. It's just a guy, you know.
Antonio Gibson did me dirty, so I was a little higher on Brian Robinson.
Yeah. I wasn't high on Antonio Gibson last year, but it was like he could ruin a little bit of work for Brian Robinson. But he didn't really, so. But Eckler might actually bother his workload a little bit.
I have no idea what Austin Eckler is going to do in football or fantasy football this season.
Yeah, I just like he didn't tear his – what did he do? He sprained his ankle last year. It definitely slowed him down, but it was like was that the issue, or is it just that he's old?
Right.
Like, I really have no idea.
Right.
I'm wrong. It could be that he hit the magical.
The age curve, yeah.
God, what a fun pick he was, though, back in the day, man. Even like 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, grabbing him at 4, 5, 6. Oh, man.
So I flew out to the Chargers game 2 years ago against the Rams, and I got the tickets for the end zone. And he went like 70 yards sprinting right at me. Oh, dude, it was so awesome. Like, just seeing that dude run.
He's great with the fans too. He's a fantasy player.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Based on your start so far, Felix, I can bet your next quarterback is going to be right.
It starts with a T, and his last name ends with was it E?
I'm trying to think, like, who else some good week 20? Oh, I mean, not week
But
20.
I'm going to have to figure out a third quarterback here, so I don't really know. Again, we don't have to worry about, on DraftKings as much, but I have a lot of week 12 issues going on my team.
You're not the only one. I actually did a draft. It's a true story. I accidentally hit a live draft instead of a slow draft en route to my birthday dinner, and I literally made picks from my phone.
I just realized I drafted Joe Burrow also on this team, and I don't think I meant to. Oh man!
No, and literally, I knew I probably needed a third quarterback because I drafted Justin Herbert and Tua, and so I ended up taking Will Levis about a round later.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I was high on the Titans at the big board, and I should be still, but I have been gravitating towards the Carolina Panthers and Giants. I just like the coach over there in Tennessee. Like, he's talking about throwing the ball a whole bunch.
They should.
Yeah.
I think they have a good team. I don't think they have a great team either, but offensive coordinator. Hopefully the offense ticks up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we just did our AFC South preview, and one of the things that I was talking about.
Yeah, I was listening a little bit.
I think it's the most even division in the NFL. I mean, it's half. I mean, obviously you got to have the Texans as the favorite, but I think any one of those 4 teams has a ceiling that is competitive at least.
It seems like the top teams want to go. I've heard a lot of 1-3-5-1.
Are you just saying that because that's what you did?
No. Well, I'm just saying it because I've heard a lot of teams. Good advice is 1-3-5-1. A couple times I've gotten the 2, and then I've gone CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and I feel like it's crazy, but with that being a Week 17 stack, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. I'd be done at running back.
Who did you take?
Chase, the Case Brown.
Oh, did you take the Chase? I'm mixing in Chase Brown, mixing in Mike Gesicki with my Cincinnati stats. I can't help it.
No, that's a good pick. As a Michigan fan, I saw Eric All go to Iowa and then get drafted by the Bengals. I was very excited that day. And I don't know if he plays at all this year, to be honest. But if he does, I'm a little bit more excited about Eric All than Gesicki. But Gesicki's always been a wide receiver in tight ends clothing.
Can't block to save his life. But
right.
I mean, you can get him in last 3-4 rounds anyway.
Yeah. But that's what you're looking for. That's what I was like. You could always add a tight end that matches up with your quarterback potentially.
Yeah. And I mean,
and he has touchdown upside,
Absolutely.
And in that offense, it could be good.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know who the new offensive coordinator is, but I feel like the coach was calling the plays anyways. But I could be wrong.
It's like with Kyle Shanahan. Even though everybody tries to get coaches, he's the mastermind of Sean McVay in LA.
Yeah. Gotta keep my draft straight. Let's see here. Did I tweet it out? I can't remember if I tweeted this out.
Who are some good late round picks?
For what position?
Any position. Well, running back, wide receiver.
Wide receiver. I'm my highest exposed is Jalen Hyatt. Elijah Moore is kind of sneaky. He actually had a pretty decent year for a wide receiver. The receiver option number 3 on that team with 52 catches, 500 yards.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people love Greg Dortch. I'm not so much on Greg Dortch, but I get it.
He might be the wide receiver. He might be option 4 there with MHJ, McBride and Michael Wilson there. Who's the guy in New Orleans? A.T. Perry.
A.T. Perry. I did hear he ran a lot of routes, but didn't do anything on them.
He's like the shorter MVS, right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't think about that way, but that is a good comparison.
I'll tell you what, man. Again, it's going to my bias, but with the injury history of Achane and Raheem Mostert, man, Jalen Wright has an opportunity to put up RB2 numbers, in my opinion. If I don't think.
I mean, you're talking up my wheelhouse here. I 28% of Jalen Wright right now.
I mean, if he's the third guy, if they stay healthy, which I hope they stay healthy, but track record's not the best. I think he could slot right in there and do what Achane did last year.
Yeah, or if Mostert gets hurt, he's not. He's a bit of a toothpick himself. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm going to cue you and then double check my lineup. What?
What did I hear your pick?
What? No, you're good. I just trying to make sure that it made sense to go this route on this team. I'm mixing up my drafts here mentally, and I'm making sure that I'm back on track.
I think if I'm going to take like Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, it's got to be a 3-quarterback team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I don't even know if JJ McCarthy plays this year, which is scaring the living you know what.
Yeah, dude. I don't know about all that for sure.
You take any DJ Hawkinson?
No, I'm 0 on Hawkinson, Chubb, and
I think I took one.
I'm good. I'm good on that. Let's see, yeah, I think I can use more wide receivers here. Go with my Chargers love and a different. I would love to go Burton there, but I am trying to avoid Week 12 buys right now.
Oh, I did. Oh, I'll tell you what. I did a best ball draft, not a DK draft, but a best ball draft the other night, and I literally took everybody on a Week 12 buy. And I wanted to just hit my head.
Oh, you have yourself a nice little bye week. You have
Literally, I took every Week 12 wide receiver known to mankind. I took Chris Olave, I took T. Higgins, I took Jermaine Burton, and then I'm like, I think I took Gabriel Davis, and I'm like, oh crap, he's a Week 12 buy, and I'm like, darn it! Shoot!
Who did get Gabe Davis on this draft? Let's see here.
JT Capsnake. He's got Dak, Brock Purdy, and wait.
He's got 3 quarterbacks already. Jeez.
Wow.
Yes.
And two tight ends. Yeah, his wide receiver room's a little light. I don't. Yeah, it makes sense for him to go that way.
Yeah, he's going 0 wide receiver. I don't like his chances.
I don't like his chances, but I mean, hey, it can work. I think anything can work. After last year, anything can work.
I was an RB truther until last.
You can still be an RB truther. You just got to get the right ones.
Yeah, exactly.
No, honestly, if I'm not getting McCaffrey, Bijan, or Brees Hall, I'm probably not drafting a running back over.
It makes sense to do that route this year for sure because the wide receiver has been pushed up so much.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it, I did mess it up again. But the running backs just go to a different spot than they did last year. But there's still like you can get Bijan and JT and then just slam wide receivers for the next 5 rounds, and you'd be all right.
Yeah.
But those tight ends in round 4 are really tempting, and then those quarterbacks, maybe one of the balls around 5, round 6, it gets pretty tough to pass on them.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to if you do RB.
Yeah, I'm hoping you're not stealing my idea with a.
100% I have. Yeah, he's going right here. I'm sorry.
You steal it. Come on.
I had to.
Oh,
I watched Dylan cue that about half an hour ago.
Doggone it.
God, I'm looking at my exposure. Holy Blake Corum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Only.
Oh, I feel like an idiot now from queuing.
With the Geno Smith still there.
Well, yeah. And then I've got JSN and Keenan Allen, so I mean it's not the Wolves.
You never know. That might be the skeleton key play.
I mean, I could get Jared Cole, Jawan Johnson, and then punch myself with one of the Raider running backs.
I'm also this year. I'm not worrying about Week 17 as much. I used to stress it the year after I won it, and I guess the last 2 years. But I feel like if you draft just good teams and they get to the finals, just let it work out. You'll probably bump yourself into a correlation because that's how people draft, and it kind of skews the ADP anyways. But the year I won it, I did no Week 17 thought process of drafting. It pretty much hit the nuts on that draft, And I still ran into correlated teams just because like you're drafting, probably like 5 different teams on your single team.
Right.
Well, I got Geno, so you can have Bryce Young. I'll have Geno.
Oh, he already had him.
I mean, I don't hate it. Plus, that's why I got Kate Otten anyway, because then I had these. And I mean, I'm not saying you get week 17 correlation with everybody, because, you could get, let me see, what would be a good one? You get Jalen Waddle and who's Elijah Moore. You get Jerome Ford and one of the Dolphin running backs. I mean, you drafted any Chubb?
No, I'm not. But I did take him once though the other day after somebody brought it up in my draft stream. I was like, let's see if I can make a 5th running back Chubb. Make that work. But
I'm more. Yeah.
I'm pretty much out on Nick Chubb. Just he could just not play at all. I had the year that OBJ was like injured the entire year. I had like 20% OBJ, like midway through the drafting season. I'm like, maybe I should back off. Thankfully, I did. But like in a lot of those teams, he was like my wide receiver one. I think it was like big board drafts that I was on it though. Mainly, it was like I kind of effed myself over. So injury guys, I kind of just take a step back a little bit.
Same.
You draft any alike? You draft any JJ McCarthy?
Occasionally, not a lot though. I'm at like 2%, 1%, like probably 3 or 4 teams then.
I thought you were about to say Elijah Mitchell. I made a pact to myself that I was never going to draft Elijah Mitchell again after a couple years back.
I don't blame you.
I think that was you got hurt recently.
Oh gosh, who am I gonna take here? Stole my idea.
Janu.
What'd you go?
I'm gonna take Lee Jones.
Oh gosh. Take Mims here for my Cincinnati correlated pick.
Oh crap! It gave me Elijah Mitchell. Fudge.
Oh no.
Now, did take.
Right.
I'm afraid it's not what I want, but I mean, I'm probably done taking running backs anyway. I need another.
Okay.
Take
one. I mean, JJ might make it back to you, or did he just go?
No, I'm not taking Jake. Well, I don't know. I'm not. That's who I thought about taking Mims, trying to get one of the Bronco wide receivers. Got a lot of Troy Franklin. Maybe too much.
You can't have too much Franklin.
I'll tell you, the 2 guys I owned too much last year were Kenneth Gainwell and Jared McKinnon.
Oh, yeah. Jared.
I couldn't go a draft without having one of both those guys.
Alrighty.
Oh, did you? You took McMillan, right?
Yeah, McMillan's. He was like the better wide receiver out of Polk and and whoever the other guy is that was there 2 years ago. And he just had a down season last year.
Well, yeah.
Roma Dudes, I think you. Yeah. So I'll take the guy that was pretty good a couple years ago.
My most recent.
Tyler Gronklin.
Oh, one of my favorite picks.
From you or me? From your team or me?
From your team. I love Jalen Hyatt. Did you get Jalen Hyatt, or did you just start him?
I'm thinking about taking him next.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're only going to draft one tight end?
I'm waiting. See, I wait. I'm patient. I got patience.
I do too.
I mean, honestly, Evan Ingram's going to be my tight end for most weeks, and that's how I look at it. And then who I'm going to get next is just going to, hopefully a couple touchdowns in one game, and that's all he contributes.
Oh, I
In
know.
a position to throw away, it's definitely tight end.
Yes. You could take zero as a tight end. Okay, so the year I won it, I had Rob Gronkowski and Robert Tonyan. Robert Tonyan was on IR for 90% of that season. So I essentially had a one tight end on that team.
And wasn't that the game where Antonio Brown
yes.
in the end?
And I missed all of this. I missed everything, man. It was so bad. But yeah, that was the game where he went crazy off the sideline. When I came back, when we landed off on the tarmac and seeing like how high it was, and then looking at the highlights from earlier that day, I'm like, wait, what happened? That was a pretty wild thing to see.
In a way, I wish the DraftKings format would be different, because last year best ball tournament didn't fill, and now it's double the price.
Yeah, I'm not saying I had any pool, right? I'm just a guy, but they did come to me for asking for suggestions. I did ask for it to be pushed up to 20. I thought that the people that were playing in 2 years ago it was 5, and the last year it was 10, and I was like, look, people are just messing around and just not caring about the draft, and we'll just do wild things. And I was like, it kind of ruins the integrity of the game, because some people are building these super teams, and you guys are clearly not going to go through all the teams that are going to get drafted. So if we could just get these teams up the price and maybe make them care about their teams just a little bit more, or try to de-incentivize the bad drafters. But so I'm not saying that I had any pool, but a lot. They asked me in an email. I gave them a full page essay of all the things I wanted. I wanted a draft board. I want they put practically everything I want on there. So I can't say that I didn't have impact, but I feel like I kind of did.
And get rid of the crappy drafters, right?
Pretty much, yeah. That's what I wanted. Shit. I'm gonna go Parker Washington.
That's crazy. Man, that's insane.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, it was absolutely insane.
He was the guy from the Jags.
Yeah. He's still there. Yeah.
I think he was a 6th round rookie.
Yeah, he played decently last year. They said he looked good in OTAs. I don't know how much time he's going to get how much playing time he gets. But if somebody gets injured, I can see him wiggling in there. But you got Christian Kirk, you got Brian Thomas, you got Gabe Davis, you have Evan Ingram, ETN, Tank Bigsby. He may not get any work. He might be a straight zero. But if there's an injury, he has a chance to do something.
I'll tell you what, Tank Bigsby.
He was my worst pick last year.
Oh, one of my worst picks. And you know what? I didn't draft Travis Etienne at all, and I'm a Jags fan.
I'm essentially a Jags fan with how much I draft them this year. Let's see here.
Huh.
I need a wide receiver on the team. Where's it? How do you spell Andre Ibushi?
You're gonna draft Mr. Scrapple?
No. Well, I am on the other league because I accidentally took Joe Burrow naked on that one when I thought I was drafting him over here. So I am taking Andre Yoshi on that too.
Is that the Andre Osivis or whatever his name is?
Yes. People, I've heard it so many different ways. I've heard Yoshifus. I don't know. So I'm just going to call him Yoshi. Even though it does not look like that at all.
Whatever.
I just brought up your Twitter. That 3-4-12-1 is crazy.
Yeah, it was a fun team, right? I could kind of see it working.
Yeah, no, I totally could. I mean, obviously there's. So
that was a dual heavy running back start, and then I was like, okay, and then I got one elite quarterback, followed it with the perfect spot for 2 back-to-back quarterbacks. So I was like, okay, well, I don't really need any more than that. I was like, the tight end will work itself out. I really need wide receiver help. So I just slammed like every rookie and every like high upside type wide receiver.
I mean, I think the potential of that team is off the charts. I mean, obviously your running backs are stacked. I mean, the fact you were able to pull Lamar, Tua, and Justin Herbert on that same team was just crazy.
Wait, what pick did you get in that? What pick did you get?
That'd be one, right?
That was the first time or the third time I've gotten the number one selection in the Millie Maker. So I was pretty excited about that one.
Guessing that was I think if I get actually in one of my slow drafts I got McCaffrey, and I'm thinking part of me is thinking, do I go McCaffrey and then take Debo afterward? I'm kind of thinking of doing that.
Let's see if I can find Gesicki fast enough. I'll add him to my time in here. I mean, he might have got drafted actually.
I saw he was at the top of the tight end board, so he must be gone.
Yeah, he must be gone. I'll take Eric All.
Argentina.
Didn't he tear his ACL last year from like Michigan?
From Iowa. Yeah, he tore it like in September. So I'm hoping that like he rehabs it. I wouldn't even be mad if he started on the PvP for them. And then they'll figure out that Mike Gesicki really isn't much of a tight end as he is a wide receiver, and then he gets the tight end work because he's better than Drew Sample and Tanner Hudson. So
absolutely.
I mean, you saw when he played with under Mike McDaniel, he couldn't block Wolf of Who.
No, he was never able to figure out the blocking. But man, the amount of times I saw him streaking across the middle, making one-handed catches, it's just the guy's an athletic freak. It's just you got to be able to fit him into the right spot.
Okay, Felix, so your team is Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Kieran Williams, Christian Kirk, T. Higgins, Evan Ingram, Najee, who I think is now on 150% of your team.
Just about.
Joe Burrow, Devin Singletary, Trevor, Chase Brown, Adam Thielen, Quentin Johnson, Bryce Young, Bucky Irvin, Marvin Mims, Jalen McMillan, Jatavian Sanders, Parker Washington, and Eric All. And then my team is JJ, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, Lamar, Mark Andrews, Joe Mixon, Deontay, JSN, Brian Robinson Jr., Zeke, Gus Bus, Marshawn Lloyd, Kate Arden, Rashad Bateman, Gino, Elijah Mitchell, Tyler Conklin, Jalen Hyde, Elijah Moore, and Josh Reynolds.
It's a solid team.
No, I always dish myself after these drafts. I feel like I draft the worst team, but
no, that's a good team.
Give me some
opportunity. I like that. I like that team. You have what we were talking. I talked about high upside type plays, and you have with Jalen Hyatt and Elijah Moore at the very end. So those are good there. Your wide receivers probably don't even need help with having the first three you started with, and then you have Lamar and Mark Andrews that could easily be the tight end 1 and QB 1 multiple weeks. So you don't even have to worry about your backups, but you have good backups as well. So I think you solid team. You're already on the top half of the board. It's like you have to look at it like, am I in the top 6? If you're in the top 6 after your draft, then you're just like, you just have to hope that you don't hit the injury bug.
Yeah. What I'm curious on your thoughts of Shipley, the Eagles running back.
I like him. I think he's gonna immediately step in and share time with Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah.
If Barkley goes down, which he probably will, because the man can't stay healthy when he has a good situation.
Yeah.
I could see them splitting back the backfield entirely. I don't see touchdown upside, so I don't ever think you should get him on underdog. But on DraftKings, I think he's a smash last round pick.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a good pick in my opinion.
Cool.
You went at the 19th here. Okay.
Just curious. I've seen him like kind of landing around my areas and at the end of the drafts, and
I like to take stabs at him and Estime and like And like, just I'd take a few of them here. I would like to be at 8% on those, which would be over the field, because those last round picks don't always get drafted.
Yeah.
Like who's the rookie running back with the Raiders?
Dylan Laube.
Yeah.
There's also another one they drafted, but Dylan Laube is the popular guy that they drafted.
Isn't he like a PPO running back from college?
Yes, he was like one of the college leaders of like receptions or something like that at the running back position.
You ultimately think that this tournament fills this year?
I hope not. But that's on them for putting it at 15 million. I think they should have kept it at 10 and they fill it, but they're already a quarter of the way through and it's just it's July 9th. So I don't know if they fill it, but I think they get at least to 700. Oh, no, I think they get to 800,000. I don't know how much more they get than that, but I think they at least get to 800,000. Because everybody's trying to wait their bullets. Also, you got all the people that are, not doing their drafts until August. I can see it getting to at least 800,000. I don't know. I can't see it getting filled, but I think they're okay with it not getting filled. In a weird way, it's like it's just bringing as many consumers as they can to it. Sometimes, like, you can just get the money on the table, and they'll probably make money from it regardless. Like, they'll have hit the rake.
There's gotta be more promos coming, right?
I mean, they're dropping they dropped the $4 today. They also do they dropped the $8 and the $15 for the September Survivor, which was super cool.
I think I put 9 in the $4, and most of them are slow draft. And I've got 6 slow drafts going on now.
So also, like, you probably maxed the single entry and the $3.
Yeah, I've got 17 of the $3.
Yes, I maxed those out like practically the first couple weeks, and so like to me, I'm like, man, I hope they drop another one of those. But then I hop into my wife's phone to see like she has like so much like crowns and stuff on her phone, so I always like want to check like what's going on her side of it, and that's not even like halfway filled. So like I think there should be more tournaments for me, but like there's not going to be until they fill the other tournaments. So they got to fill the other tournaments to get more tournaments.
And then it'll be like 900K, right?
Probably not.
All right, Felix. Thanks for hopping on.
Absolutely, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dylan.